there's some very important things have also come out, like the fact that the director of the NIH said, that if they hadn't essentially cut their funding in half, slashed their funding for research, that it's very possible that they could have an Ebola vaccine by now or some kind of cure. So at the same time that so many talking heads again are lambasting our health professionals or WHO, it's so hypocritical, or members of Congress like Darrell Issa, it's so hypocritical when these are the same people who seem to have no problem with or actively participated in slashing the research budgets, the funding budgets of these institutions which are supposed to deal with this. We can't have it both ways. We can't simultaneously cut their budgets and have them give them enough to keep the power on only and then expect them to be able to contain these things or develop vaccines or preventative measures to the fullest potential.
Well, some of this you have to see it before you can do it. You had to see what emerged before you could start making a vaccine. That's why they're like using serum from people.
But Ebola's been around for a long time.
But it has. But it goes away and comes back, and it's a little different.
It's a recurring problem.
I live in Reston, which is where it hit the U.S. of A.
It's difficult for them because there's no precedent of any kind of outbreak of this kind in world history, I think, but given the resources that we have now. But to go back to CDC and NIH funding, their complaints are totally ridiculous. When you look at how much they've actually been funded in real terms, there's been no real cuts. And there's been no actual funding requests from these agencies to say, hey, we need more funding for Ebola vaccines. There was never any kind of request to Congress to do that. So for them to come to Congress and say, hey, we need this, it's totally just them grand-sizing and trying to use this crisis to exploit it for more funding in the future.
I was looking at graphs of this just before I came over. NIH funding and particularly Ebola research funding, and it has gone down. It has been going down, over the past decade, and particularly over the past 4 years.
It's back up now, though.
Okay. All right, we're gonna move on.
Yeah.
All right.